right, it's the holiday season, but don't let this get away from you. Here's what we're talking about, okay? We're talking about not neglecting. Let's get to it. Hey there, Enterprisers, what's good? It's Jason Ligo here again. And in this video, I want to talk to you about how to not neglect your content marketing during the holidays. That's right, how to not neglect your content marketing during the holiday season, right? And in case you didn't know, yes, it's the holiday season as of the time of this video, okay? We are well into the holiday season. I'm talking about the very thick of it right now. It seems like it's just a week or two away, and before you know it, everyone's gonna be caroling, opening presents, eating, visiting with family, and all those good things that happen during this particular time of year. And it's a fun, exciting time, one that we all look forward to, especially after a long, crazy, hard year, right? We look forward to the season, all right? But with that said, it's also stressful on a couple different fronts. It can be stressful just because of the nature of the hustle and bustle of the holiday season, but also as a result of that, one of the things that happens is your content marketing gets neglected, all right? And that's something that you can't have happen in your particular business, especially if you're in the online business, because we rely so heavily on making sure that we have content out there that is continuing to do the marketing for us, attract our avatars, bring in new leads, increase our exposure, gain brand awareness, so on and so forth. You get the idea. And so because of that, you want to make sure that you've got a certain plan in place so that you don't neglect your content marketing. But it's very true. It can be a very difficult time because as your year continues and as every day passes, it absolutely gets harder and harder to make the time that's necessary to bang out the kind of content that you want in order to keep your business going, to keep your online presence going. So let me go ahead and give you just a few things that have worked for me throughout the years. These are 3 simple things, and if you don't discount these, this will be great in terms of helping you make sure that you don't neglect your content marketing during this time of year. Let's get right to it. Number 1, plan ahead. Plan ahead, okay? Again, you know that it's going to be a busy time of year, right? And hopefully you're at a place in your life and in your business where schedule matters to you. It should, especially in the field of entrepreneurship. Scheduling is everything. And so again, this is where using some tools, some practical tools to help you out becomes very, very effective. Obviously, you start with basic things like your calendar and your planner, right? You should have your calendar. Me, I love Google Calendar. I live off my calendars, okay? And in terms of Google Calendar, I have one for every aspect of my life, right? I got one for my business, I got one for my personal life, I got one for my daily career, I got one for my ministries. I absolutely love the calendar, right? I come from a background too in corporate America where we had a saying, basically, if it's not on the calendar, it didn't happen, right? And if it's not on the calendar, it won't happen. So schedule everything, right? Have an idea of what you're getting into. Every family function, every soccer game, whatever it is. With everything that is coming at you this time of year, it just makes sense to put it on the calendar so you don't forget anything. Now, obviously, if things are on the calendar, what that's going to do is not only help you schedule time to make your content, but it really gives you an idea about how much free time you have, right? How much time and when it is. You might need to adjust some things this time of year. Maybe you're used to doing your content at a certain point every single day, but now those days are being eaten up with events and obligations. So maybe you need to dial it back to just 1 or 2 days, and you have a very, very small or tight window to work within. But you need to go ahead and plan ahead. It definitely helps you to know what is going on. And with that said, if your time gets tight, then you want to make sure that you use some tools that'll help you alleviate that problem. So for instance, things like scheduling tools, right? In terms of posting, things like that. Certain different types of automation and AI, there's plenty out there if you just look into it, all right? But you can essentially have a lot of tools out there that can help you in this regard. So at the very least, plan ahead. Number 2, batch your work. Batch your work, okay? This kind of leans into the last point. I think I was alluding to it, and you got it if you paid attention, right? If you know that you only have a certain number of hours or a certain limited amount of time, then this is one of those things where you have to make that time count. Does that make sense? Make that time count. And what that means is don't just create one piece of content. Create 2, 3, or 4 so you can get ahead of the game. Because the reality is, especially as the end of the year approaches, you're going to feel less and less inclined to sit down and create your content, right? Whether it's video, blogs, posts, emails, that sort of thing. It's going to be hard to do it one each time that it comes due, right? Rather than doing that, make the time available one that is of absolute productivity, right? So sit down there in that hour and craft out as many things as you can. And then when it comes time to post them, you can certainly fine tune them between then and then, or you can just, fine tune it before you send it out. But at least you'll have something to work with. Nothing is worse than having a short a limited amount of time before a certain deadline and you're starting from zero, right? It's almost like your writer's block is self-manufactured in that regard, and you don't want that. So batch your work, create it ahead of time, right? I don't care if you're doing full-length videos, like something you would post on YouTube or on Facebook, or if you're doing shorter videos, like a TikTok or an Instagram Reel or a YouTube Short. Bang out as many as you can, staying true to your integrity and to your quality, and then work from there. It just makes sense. Even if you have just raw videos, right? Whatever it is. For me, I like to have a bunch of emails queued up. I like to have a bunch of posts already scheduled for every certain day, and that way I know that when it's time to post, I just go ahead and pick from it, and I go ahead and edit it as necessary, and then I put it out there, right? Or I'll have one of my scheduling tools or people put it out there. This is the kind of thing that you want to do, okay? So make sure that you are thinking about that. Batch your work. Believe me, batch your work and you won't be sorry. Number 3, keep the cycle going, okay? Keep the cycle going. And this is ever so important in this thing of not neglecting your business, not neglecting your content marketing during the holiday season. Again, because we're operating from the premise that you won't always be at your desk or behind the computer or whatever it is to create this content. So you want to make sure that when someone stops by and is looking at your stuff, we are grabbing a hold of them and keeping them for as long as possible. And so that's why I say keep the cycle going. And what I'm referring to is basically each piece of content should feed into something else. And that way we're making most use out of the time that these people are giving us, right? If they're giving us time and attention, we don't want to waste it. We want to make sure that we get as much exposure as possible. And so this is where continuing to build on your lead magnets, your funnels, your pages, and your calls to action all weaving together to create this beautiful machine. Make sure that every piece of content has that. And I know you are, but don't neglect it, right? Just don't get away from those little things. So for instance, if someone's going to land on your video during the holiday season and you know that it's going to be a while before you're doing any type of engagement or creating new assets, then make sure that that asset does the job of pointing them to something else. Whether it's to hop on your email list or maybe receive your free lead magnet so they can do the same, or to go visit your free webinar that you're hosting that sells another product, or maybe points you to a introductory product that doesn't cost a whole lot of money, right? Or maybe it invites them to one of your online communities, right? And then from there, it points them to something else. You see what I'm saying? Keep the cycle going. The people who land into your sphere should never land at a place where there's nothing next. They should never hit a brick wall. There should always be something to which they're pointed. They should be guided to the next step, the next phase, and this should continue until, at the end of time. You understand what I'm saying here? I think you get what I'm talking about. Just make sure that you keep the cycle going, and I promise you, you won't be sorry about that, all right? That's it, my friends. Listen, I hope this was helpful, quick and dirty as per usual. Hopefully you get a lot of value out of this, all right? Go ahead and let me know which one of these stands out to you the most. Sound off in the comment section. Obviously, make sure that you subscribe, and that way you don't miss out on any more hot new content that I got coming down the pipe just for you. All right, now make sure that you also click on the link in the description if you've never started your own online business, and if maybe you've tried before, maybe you failed at it, but you want to go ahead and watch over my shoulder as I show you how to do it. Believe me, this stuff works, and I'll be happy to show you how to get this thing going just like I did so many years ago. All right, listen, I hope you have a happy holiday season. I hope it's going to be full of everything that you want, but stay tuned for more. I got plenty more coming your way. All right, this is Jason Ligo with Always Enterprise. Take care. I'll see you next time.